Welcome back to the Pursuit of Accuracy. I'm Josh, and today we're going to talk about what I think is the single most important part of shooting your rifle to make you more accurate. Now, this is going to be controversial. This is probably going to go against some of the theory and shooting technique that people have used and talked about and rehearsed their entire life, but it is not meant to disprove anybody else's ideology of how shooting rifles work and shooting technique works, but it is meant to be thought-provoking, to get you thinking about what is actually important so that you can incorporate things in your training that are going to make you a better rifle shooter, whether it's 22, shotgun, rifle, pistol, competition, hunting, whatever. It's just meant to be thought-provoking. So let's get on a prop. Let's talk about a few key things, and then I'm going to have a demonstration for you to kind of hopefully prove what I'm talking about. And we're going to share with you what I think is the single most important part about shooting a rifle accurately. So we're on the prop here with our custom Bergara B14R. This is the Modicam one. That is an L3i mag, just so you know kind of what we're using, track torque ELR. But we need to talk about some common terminology just so that we're on the same page, because just so everyone can understand kind of the intent of what we're talking about here. Now, so with rifles, what we're going to talk about is dwell time and follow through. Now, we're going to talk about dwell time first because this is a rimfire, and this is something you hear a lot in air guns and rimfire. So dwell time is the amount of time it takes from when you break the shot, like basically ignition, to when the bullet leaves the barrel, right? So if we were to load a live round here, we have the time from when we pull the trigger. Let me make sure we're safe here. So the time from when we actually pull the trigger to the shot breaking, that is called lock time. You hear that a lot in pistols. But from the time this ignites to the time the bullet leaves the barrel, that is dwell time. And why is that important? Because we're shooting a rimfire or small bore rifles, that dwell time is increased. And we're only talking about dwell time because you hear a lot of people talk about follow through. And what you hear is that when there's more dwell time, when you have a small bore rifle, then follow through becomes more important. And what I actually believe is the single most important part of making an accurate rifle shot is not so much follow through as it is breaking the trigger. So here I'm going to set up on a 100-yard target, and hopefully this stays the same. I think if you do nothing else correctly but break this trigger, then you are going to hit your target, and there's no follow through there. To help show you that from my perspective, I actually already shot this through the scope camera, so let's go to that now. We're a little low on it, but I did add some elevation, so here we go. Let's try it one more time. All right, let me try and block some of the glare. Here we go. So as you can see from that demonstration, we were able to break 2 shots at basically MOA size target from this prop with absolutely no follow through. Now there is dwell time, and I understand the thought process behind having good follow through, and I'm not saying you should abandon all technique, but what I am saying is that the single most important thing that's going to happen on this rifle to make an accurate shot downrange is going to be this trigger pull. And what you need to do to train that is get rid of your ammunition, get on your rifle, and figure out how to pull that trigger every single time straight and without disturbing the rifle at all when you break the shot. If you can learn how to do that and practice that and incorporate that into your range time with just the thought process of, let's shoot these targets today, let's have fun, but let's make a good trigger pull every single time. I think that's going to yield a lot more results for you than worrying about follow through, cheek pressure, shoulder pressure. Now, when you're talking about centerfire rifles, obviously lots of shoulder pressure is going to be required because you need to see the impact or the miss. And you know, with a rimfire, we can kind of get away with that, but focusing on good trigger pulls is how you're going to make good accurate shots, because I think that the dwell time is so minimal, it doesn't really matter what you're doing behind the rifle once you break the shot. But when you're most likely to impart movement on the rifle to steer it off course is going to be through the trigger pull. So, and obviously, you know, the straight back, nice, slow, steady squeeze is what we're after on a trigger pull, but there's more to it than that. If you're getting tense, you're not relaxed, you don't have a good trigger pull, you may be imparting movement by, you know, flexing your hand muscles, you may be kind of anticipating the shot, pushing into the rifle, steering it as you break that shot, because we'll do it again. As you can see, if we just line this guy up, we have it on target, and we break that shot, it's hitting that target. No follow through needed on this part. And this is a 22, it's not really recoiling, but you can see in the video clip, it is recoiling up and above the target. So there is some recoil, there is some movement after the shot due to recoil. This is just meant to be thought-provoking. It's not meant to be controversial, although I know it will. If you don't agree with me, please share your ideologies in the comment section below. This is more just to get you thinking. This is how I came to this kind of conclusion after shooting and training. I started thinking, well, is follow through really that important? Does dwell time really matter even in a 22? You know, maybe in slower shooting rifles, it would matter if you're shooting like an air gun at 400 feet per second maybe, but here I just don't see it. It's just something that I tested and I wanted to share with you guys. So if you're gonna focus on anything, if I had to tell you one thing to work on, get a good clean trigger pull. And if you have a trigger that's really, really heavy, and you know, maybe you're not used to a super light trigger like this, it may be time to start incorporating some of that into your gear if you're looking for improvements, because the trigger pull is going to be the single most beneficial or detrimental part of your rifle shooting when you're talking about precision, especially when you're starting to talk about hunting and competitions where you're going to be on unsteady props and the rifle has the ability to move when you're not on the bench. I appreciate you guys watching. We'll catch you on the next one.